Hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. Today's topic, new ClearPath Forward Libra platforms. Our speakers for you today are Brian Herklow and Bob LaFleur, ClearPath Forward Product Management. And with that, Brian, the audience is yours.
Okay, thank you, Matt, and hello everyone. We really appreciate you joining us today, and wherever you are in the world, welcome. We want to talk to you about the new ClearPath Forward Libra platforms, the new lineup that we are bringing to market. So what we'd like to talk to you about today is just a very, very high-level view of the ClearPath Forward strategy, the architecture and some of its attributes, and then Bob will walk you through all of the new Libra systems as well as the new fabric solutions that are part of the system architecture. So I just want to spend a minute or two on the high-level strategy for ClearPath Forward. I'll direct your attention to the arrow in the middle of the slide that says optimized infrastructure, and then underneath that it says Libra, Dorado, and then CSS infrastructure, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. But Libra and Dorado, 4 or 5 years ago, or even 3 years ago, this slide would have been only the middle arrow, and it would simply have said Libra and Dorado new platforms. In 2005, there was this strategic shift that was made by Unisys that moved our operating environments away from the hardware and moved them into a firmware layer that resides now and runs on industry standard Intel. Most of you are aware of that. Some of you may not be. With that advent, we came out with the ClearPath software series, and the ClearPath software series the first deliverable was MCP Express, MCP Developer Studio. We then followed, which were obviously for very small development environments, so we followed that with MCP Bronze and MCP Silver, which are production level software-only images that can run on pure Intel servers, no modification from Unisys, and that can also be deployed on VMware and Hyper-V. That is the beginning of what we call the ClearPath software series. So the ClearPath software series allowed us to do something else, and that it now underpins in the middle arrow again, the CSS stands for ClearPath software series infrastructure. You no longer have to buy the hardware from us if you choose not to. You can buy from a vendor of your choice. You can buy from, if you have an enterprise contract with whatever vendor it happens to be, as long as the architecture is Intel and meets a very lenient reference architecture that we publish, you're fine. It will run just fine. So the ClearPath software series, we flip the 2 arrows around, and the ClearPath software series now underpins everything we do. It underpins the optimized infrastructure strategy, which is the Libra and Dorado lines that you're familiar with, as well as the software series infrastructure that I just described to you. Over the course of the next few years, all of our products from low end all the way up through premium high end will be software stacks deployable on industry standard Intel. And into the future, our forward strategy, our forward-looking strategy, is obviously ClearPath Forward Hybrid Cloud. That is where we are headed, and it is all enabled by the ClearPath software series, the first stage of which was moving to Intel. All of our products are underpinned by a rich set of ClearPath services, and as we move further into cloud environments, whether it's private cloud environments or hybrid cloud environments, you will see the products will change from platform type names to what we call capacity sets. So for example, MCP Bronze is a capacity set. It's a software only deliverable that runs on Intel, and it presents a certain level of capacity, which is for Bronze is very low entry level that can satisfy the Libra 400 class of clients. It is user-based pricing only. Moving on to MCP Silver, that's a little bit higher in the capacity range that satisfies the Libra 400 class clients that may have been in the performance ranges. And later on this summer, you're going to see us release what we are calling MCP Gold. And MCP Gold is the first entry into the mid-range space that will represent the capacity that can satisfy a Libra 4000, a Libra 4100, or Libra 4200 class of capacity. The performance is dependent on the hardware that you choose. As I stated, you no longer have to buy the hardware from Unisys. You can buy the hardware from your vendor of your choice. If you do buy the hardware from us through services engagements that can be fully integrated as a product set that you're used to. So what Bob will be talking to you about will be the high-end and premium high-end offerings, the Libra 6400, 8400 series. And you may be wondering, well, what about the Libra 4400 series? There is no Libra 4400 series. The MCP Gold deliverable with infrastructure of your choice will satisfy that capacity range. You will learn more about that as the summer goes on, probably into September when we release MCP Gold. The current schedule has us in mid-September, so look ahead to that launch material. The Libra 4300 will continue to be available for quite a while, so there should be no issue there. So with that, I will turn it over to Bob.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Again, my name is Bob LaFleur. I am the platform product manager for the ClearPath Forward products, both Libra and Dorado programs, and I'm happy to be here with you all today. Want to start by giving everyone a big thank you. First of all, thank you to Brian for that intro. Thank you to all of you for attending today, and a special thank you to those customers, those clients of ours that have chosen the ClearPath Forward Libra platforms. ClearPath Forward is a true winner from both a client as well as a Unisys perspective. We've had multiple shipments worldwide for all our major lines of business. Most importantly, several of the Libra 8000 class systems, dozens of those have been shipped and are being used in production at this very moment in financial and public sector, very intense, high-end workloads. Equally satisfying is that a significant number of ClearPath Forward installations are utilizing the fabric-based resources that add additional workload capability to the ClearPath MCP capabilities of the Libra platforms. So today we'll be introducing two new models, the Libra high-end model, the replacement for the Libra 6300, and the Libra premium high-end model, a replacement for the Libra 8300. These new models, as Brian mentioned, called the 8400 and 6400, provide a wide performance range, and including the most performant Libra system we've ever released. They are paired with very high performance I/O subsystems that have 3 to 4 times the performance attributes of the previous Libra architectures. We've got a couple new and exciting networking and storage connections that are now available with the Libra platforms, in addition to a new networking architecture that provides some improved performance. And with these new models, the fabric resources are an option for additional workload support for enterprise Linux or Microsoft Windows workloads. One of the reasons these platforms have been so successful is that they share in the traditional Libra attributes, or what I call abilities, that are things that we have come to expect and our clients rely on as part of the Libra platform capabilities. Things like the scalability to grow your business, the manageability of all the elements within the Libra complex, interoperability with any number of industry standards through our middleware products. Certainly a flexible capability where you can choose different business models for a pay-for-use or more traditional fixed MIPS environment. Compatibility with prior architectures one of the hallmarks of the ClearPath Libra systems is being able to manage the existing data and code file structures without any sort of a conversion. And finally, accountability. The capability to know that from the basic hardware through the top ends of the MCP operating system, that Unisys is responsible for the total infrastructure. Now, I'm going to touch on many of these attributes through the presentation here today, but there's two that I want to single out to talk about initially, because they're very critical and timely in the news these days. First of all is the high availability, the hardware capabilities that we've put into these systems to maintain the highest levels of availability possible for an MCP system. It starts with the internal component resiliency. These are Intel-based systems, so we've taken and selected specific platforms to make sure that they have all the natural capabilities you'd expect from a enterprise level Intel server. Things like mirrored disk, things like mirrored memory and RAID disk, things like multiple power supplies and cooling attributes. We take those components then and build them into a system, and as part of that configuration, we make sure that we have redundancy for these components. So there's redundant I/O processors as part of the Libra system. There's a high availability PMM, a backup PMM that's there for processing the main MCP applications, and redundant management servers to make sure that that element is maintained even if something would happen to the primary. We couple this all with the infrastructure components, the fabric infrastructure, the internal LAN components, and each of those have redundant elements. So what we find is that when we look with these new Intel-based systems, that the reliability is really on par with any previous Libra architecture. So we trust in this architecture, the combination of the Intel-based components and the Unisys design to provide these high levels of availability. Now that's from a hardware perspective. From a software perspective, we're really very fortunate with the ClearPath operating systems to have the highest ranked operating systems from a security perspective. And even though this chart's only about a month old, it's been a pretty troubling time for many installations around the world. But we're happy to report that from all of our knowledge that there have been no incidents of any attack from the WannaCry crypto encryption threat that has come around the world. And in fact, the MCP systems maintain their record of no user data being compromised. So we're very proud of that. And the combination of the high availability hardware and the ultimate security of the MCP operating system really puts our clients in a very good position for maintaining systems in their very important applications that they support. So let's talk about the new platforms that we're announcing today. The flagship platform is the Libra 8400 series. And once again, the 8000 series has broken the performance records for MCP processing. The Libra 8400 maintains an 800 MIPS single thread performance, and that's a significant improvement over the Libra 880s as well as the 8290s that were the leader in those performance ranges just a few years ago. From a single image performance, we now can support up to 11,500 MIPS. And again, you see that's nearly twice the single image performance that we had with any CMOS system, and a significant improvement over the 8290. So this level of performance then provides the scalability and the total workload necessary for many of our customers to continue to grow their MCP applications. And we're working with customers today that are looking for this next level of performance. and we'll soon have shipments of these new Libra 8400 systems. Equally impressive is the new Libra 6400. Again, this is the high-end performance that many of our customers need. Has a single thread performance of 600 MIPS and a single image maximum of 4,800 MIPS. So again, a very high performance Libra system with all the full redundancy features that you'd expect and demand from a ClearPath Forward Libra platform. The dual processing modules, the dual I/O subsystem modules, dual operating systems, and full redundancy from all the internal components. This chart shows a comparison of the performance there for the new system shown in red, the Libra 64 and 8400s, as well as some of our older systems, CMOS boxes in green, and some of our other older Intel platforms in the light blue color. Again, you can see that the Libra 8400 is far and above the performance of these older systems, so it's truly a platform that would provide those older systems significant room for growth. As well as within the platform, we have a significant scalability. And as the chart says there, you can grow your systems over 200 times from the smallest Libra 6400 up to the top-end Libra 8400 platform. I'll grow those applications without needing to change operating system, without needing to change database design, or even application code recompiling. We maintain a compatibility with older architectures that has been the hallmark of Libra systems through the years. Now, this chart shows a little bit of the full infrastructure components. Again, we've talked about the MCP capabilities within the system, the separate I/O capabilities, and the management complex. The Libra architecture is really built on a distributed architecture with multiple Intel-based Unisys-selected components for the processor and the I/O subsystems. There's a high-speed fabric infrastructure that shares that information between the MCP and the I/O, as well as an optional fabric-based connection for extended workload support. And with the ClearPath Forward systems, a fabric extension of up to 12 individual platforms is available to support multiple Windows or Linux operating system. Now, the partitions that are part of the Windows and Linux environments are things that can be commissioned on the fly, either by Unisys or through the client's capabilities. But one of the important pieces to note here is that this is an infrastructure that's supported, again, by Unisys as a ClearPath system, whether it's MCP processing or the extended processing capability for Windows and Linux. Talk a little bit about the processor memory module. Again, it's an Intel-based module with specialized Unisys firmware to run the MCP instruction sets. We actually support E-mode level ADA on this system with either a target level 5 or 6. It provides the MCP mirrored memory. It's several gigawords in each system that are available for the MCP applications. One of the unique features of this design is that the full processor potential is part of the PMM from the initial installation. So unlike other architectures we've had in the past, you don't have to add additional hardware resources to increase the performance of the MCP system or to add memory to it. It's the full processing capabilities there as part of a standard 2U PMM. There actually are 2 PMMs included with every system. One's an active PMM and another is a warm standby PMM that's constantly monitoring the health of the main PMM, and if needed, can take over in an automated fashion to reduce the failover time in the unlikely event that something happens to the primary PMM. And of course, both PMMs share full access to the I/O subsystem. There are two I/O processors, or ISMs, that are part of each of these systems, but each PMM can share in the full 2 ISM configuration. With the Libra 6400 and 8400, we do have improvements to the I/O capacity. There's a couple new and exciting I/O cards that are available. We have a new 40 gigabit Ethernet NIC card to allow the Libra system to be part of a high-speed client network. There's a new quad-port 16 gigabit HBA card, which effectively doubles the number of high-speed storage connections that are now available through the Libra 64 and 8400. We've improved the I/O capacity on these systems to where we can manage up to now 4,000 storage LUNs. And the performance of these I/O subsystems, the ISMs that are part of that distributed architecture I showed you, is really a significant improvement. Again, 3 to 4 times the performance of the previous architectures, where, however, though, we do maintain the data compatibility for supported storage devices. So literally, you can unplug a storage array from one of your current systems and plug it into the new Libra 64 and 8400, and we'll be able to read the disk without any sort of problem. Now, we borrowed a feature from the MCP 18.0 release and made it standard with the Libra 6400 and 8400. There's a newly designed networking stack that's part of the system. We're actually taking some of the functions that were run inside the MCP environment and are using the capabilities of the latest NIC cards in order to manage this new TCP/IP and BNA over IP capability. It significantly improves the networking throughput of these protocols, where at the same time we're reducing the MCP processor overhead, and you'll have a shorter elapsed time for a large file transfer that goes through this new design. Part of the new capability as well has a simplified configuration utility, much simpler than NAU from the prior designs, and it also eliminates some of the manual configuration that you had to do for the TCP/IP init files. Now, this is a capability that will be available to multiple ClearPath Forward systems under MCP 18, but for the Libra 6400 and 8400, this is a standard feature, and in fact, it's available with MCP 17 as part of an 8400 and 6400. Other ClearPath Forward Libra platforms cannot run this particular new networking stack with MCP 17, but the 6400 and 8400 will have that as part of the initial shipments. So let's take some time and talk about the specific models that we're announcing today. The Libra 6480 and 6490 are the traditional fixed MIPS performance and metered systems for the high-end MCP application. Again, using all the high availability configuration that's standard with these boxes. The new I/O configurations we just touched on for the high-speed devices, as well as the new networking stack. You have a choice of MCP workloads for development purposes, for production, or for backup, as well as other workloads. And part of the Libra 6400 family includes the capability to support optional fabric-based workloads. This chart shows the performance characteristics. Again, the 600 MIPS single thread performance for the 6400. For a 6480, we support a traditional performance anywhere from 50 all the way up to 4800 MIPS. For a metered You can contract with us for up to 3360 MIPS per month. And in a metered environment, the 6400 maintains a 4800 MIP ceiling. These systems have the image of 8 CPMs, so they'll look like an 8 CPM system with 12 gigawords of addressable MCP memory. So I said they do run eMode ADA, and the high availability features of the PMM and the dual ISMs are part of the standard configuration. And if you choose the expanded fabric-based infrastructure, you can have up to 12 dedicated enterprise partitionable platforms, or EPPs, that are part of the overall Libra 6400 design. So we mentioned the I/O performance for these systems is very powerful, matches the MCP workload performance very well. On the Libra 6400, we support up to 180,000 I/Os per second. And you can see the comparison there with older architectures, over 3 times the performance of the I/O of a Libra 800 system, all with the latest high-speed storage and network devices. Again, the real news for this release is the Libra 8400, again setting the high-end performance for the most demanding MCP workloads. These systems, as you would expect, are available for traditional and pay-for-use metered licensing models. Has all the high availability capabilities that you need for these critical workload support for MCP clients, and has the optional fabric-based workloads. The specifics then for the Libra 8400, single thread performance of 800 MIPS, impressive single thread performance for those most demanding batch type of environments. Traditional performance of 300 MIPS up to 11,500 MIPS ceilings. Run rate, you can license up to 8,000 MIPS per system over the period of a month, and again, in a metered environment, the ceiling is set at 11,500. 16 CPMs in this environment and 16 gigawords of available MCP memory. The rest of the capabilities are fairly much the same, the levels of resiliency that you'd expect, and the options for the fabric-based infrastructure. The I/O performance, again, for the 8400 matches the high levels of performance that we maintain within the MCP environment. We support up to 200,000 I/Os per second on the Libra 8400, which again is well over 3 times that which was supported off of our largest CMOS configurations. Now, up to now, I've been primarily talking about the MCP environment, the high performance PMM, the ISM, and the specialized firmware layers that are available with these components that maintain compatibility with prior architectures. We talked about the fabric infrastructure that connects these systems, or these components. And as a standard Libra system, that is a choice that you can use to support the MCP applications that you already have. Now, we do have the option of expanding that on a separate fabric connection. Again, there's a different fabric connection that connects the MCP world into these additional workload supports, so there's no impact between the MCP processors, the PMM to ISM communication, if you add in these additional workloads. But within the confines of the Libra environment, within the architecture of the Libra, the ClearPath Forward Libra platforms, you can add additional platforms to support any number of Windows or Linux applications. These workloads are an option. Again, as I've mentioned, there are multiple ETP platforms that are available, the latest 2-socket and 4-socket Broadwell processors with different disk and memory and their own I/O configuration support. We support a number of workload partitioning capabilities. We have our own Unisys SPAR partitioning, which is available for the 2-socket EPPs, as well as the VMware capabilities that will support within an EPP, and you can get them as just a bare metal environment. If you have a single large Windows or Linux application that you want to run, you can have that without the available partitioning. Each of these EPP environments then maintain a high-speed bidirectional access with the MCP resources for sharing inter-program communications or any number of solutions I'll touch on in a minute. And again, this fabric infrastructure is supported as part of the ClearPath Forward system. Now, one of the things that you can do within a fabric infrastructure upon a fabric EPP is, as Brian mentioned, we do have the ClearPath software series, and you can run any number of ClearPath software series products that are MCP related within the fabric. We have the MCP Developer Studio that allows you to develop new applications for the main MCP processing environment for the Libra 6400 and 8400. The Developer Studio is unique in that it does support the SPAR partitioning capability, as well as it can be run within a VMware or a bare metal type of configuration. We also support the MCP Bronze and Silver editions. Again, the more production-oriented but smaller scale MCP solutions that are available for additional processing as part of the Libra 6400 or 8400. In this environment, it's probably best to run them in either a bare metal or VMware environment. And this is, again, an option that can be managed as part of the standard Libra 6400 or 8400 fabric resource. So what else can you do with the fabric resources? Well, we have a number of Unisys solutions that we think would be well suited to running in the fabric or running with programs that run in the fabric. We have the Enterprise Output Manager for integrated MCP print services, which is available to be run as part of the fabric-based resource. We have Unisys Data Exchange, which allows advanced real-time data transformation between the DMS2 databases and any number of industry standard databases. We have Application Integration Services, which provides a .NET level of access from a Windows application running within the fabric into MCP resources to allow tighter integration between those MCP and any Windows applications that you might design. And of course, there's the Agile Business Suite development and component enablers that are available to be run within the fabric so that you can develop and do your builds of an AB Suite environment as part of a fabric-based implementation that then gets hosted onto the main Libra 6400 or 8400. Those are Unisys solutions, or some of the Unisys solutions that can be used within the fabric. A number of third-party solutions that are available. You can run a Java virtual machine on one of the standard off-the-shelf JVMs that are available, run that within a fabric-based resource, and interface back to the MCP through the middleware components for the MCP. You can run associated applications. If you have a database or a third-party web server product, those can be run as in the fabric as well. And we've met a couple of clients that are doing that level of integration Again, some of them with Unisys data exchange to hook to those databases as or client-designed interfaces. But in reality, you can run any Windows or SUSE or Red Hat Linux application within the fabric. We provide several levels of support for the various releases of these OSs, but they're available to be used with the MCP application processing or any solution that you feel is well suited to be run in conjunction with your main Libra processing environment. We have clients that are running business process software, payroll software, even some HR software that really have no interaction with the MCP environment, but they were looking for a secure place to run these important applications and selected the Fabric resources to do that. Now, one of the things you may have seen missing from the list there was the ePortal. And over the last few platform releases, we have included the ePortal as part of our overall Libra architecture. That is not the case with the Libra 64 or 8400. The ClearPath Forward ePortal for MCP is still available, still a very vital product for the ClearPath Forward family, but is now taken a front-end approach to where it's a separate device that can actually be used to front-end multiple Libra systems. So the ClearPath Forward ePortal Enterprise capability can handle up to 4 Libra systems, and in itself has a multi-node approach now where the ePortal has multiple platforms with their own resiliency and scalability. So it's a little bit of a new direction for our ePortal program, but it still provides the same access to smartphones and tablets, as well as the SOA web services for web enabling your MCP applications. So again, those programs those products are still available and still a part of the overall Libra 8400 and 6400 product suite. Release dates. Okay, we're now in the middle of the announcement phase. The Libra 8400 is actually available now. It's been available here for the better part of the month, and we are working with several clients and getting systems for them. We should have our first shipment soon. The Libra 64 and 8400 can run with the MCP 18.0 release, requires MCP 17 as a minimum, but if you're interested in MCP 18.0, that's available now. The Libra 6400 will be available at the end of June, so that we have a little time, but we have information on the 6400 family, and your Unisys sales representative will be happy to work with you on any possible Libra 6400 information that you may need. So that pretty much summarizes what I wanted to talk about for the new ClearPath Forward Libra systems. Again, we're implementing the new powerful MCP processing, the Libra 6400, very robust and highly reliable high-end performance, and the Libra 8400, which once again sets the standard for the peak of MCP application processing. These systems are paired with the high-performance I/O subsystems and the latest storaging and networking designs, and all have the option for additional resources to support enterprise Linux and Microsoft Windows-based solutions. Now, a little bit more on where you can get some more information on these programs. Again, this webcast, as we mentioned, will be recorded and posted to the Libra playlist within YouTube within a couple days. This presentation itself will be made available in a PDF format. So I'm going to show you a number of additional links here that those will be active from a PDF format, as well as immediately following this webcast, the new Unisys.com pages for these Libra products will be turned on, so you can go there and find additional information on the Libra 6400 and 8400. Again, we have the unisys.com, which will be available here within a matter of minutes. The latest information on MCP 18.0, a number of technical presentations that are available on YouTube, as well as the various ongoing marketing materials that we make available through the ClearPath Forward connection. There will be an upcoming ClearPath Forward connection that'll talk about the new Libra platforms, developing agility, and a number of brochures and information links that are available here. From a services perspective, we have additional links here that talk about the way that Unisys can help our clients manage their Libra services, to take a good look and to get MCP applications moved to a newer environment. If you're interested in implementing SOA type architectures with your ClearPath MCP applications, as well as the operation of your infrastructure. If you need help running or staffing your infrastructure, we have services that are available for that. And finally, we invite you to join us in social media. We have a number of different ways that you can find us, LinkedIn and Twitter. Again, the link to the YouTube video will be posted in LinkedIn here today, and various other groups that are available within different social media places. So with that, I think I'm kind of done, and I'm happy to once again thank you and to take any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob. And that does bring us to the Q&A portion of the presentation today. Again, if you have any questions for our presenters, you can send those using the question box on the lower right-hand side of the control panel there. We have had one question come across so far, and that is, if there is available processing computing in the MCP not being used, can it be used or transferred to the forward partition in Windows or Linux environment?
With the current design, the MCP processing capability within the PMM is separate from the Windows and Linux processing capabilities that are part of the fabric. So that processing cannot be shared. However, if you're implementing a software series solution within the fabric, you require a certain level of resources to get a performance out of the MCP software series. And you can have additional resources then that could be allocated to a Windows and Linux environment. That would require that you are doing some level of partitioning in order to share those physical resources on the EPP. So most likely that would be a VMware environment, one to support the software series and another to support additional Windows or Linux resources.
Excellent. Thank you, Bob. Brian, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
No, not at all.
Okay. Then it looks as if that's all the questions that we have coming from the audience today. So you guys covered everything very well. Bob, I guess I'd leave it to you for any closing statements for the audience.
All right. Well, again, Matt, I'd like to thank everybody just for attending today. Thank you for your ongoing commitment to the ClearPath Forward Libra platforms. We believe that we have the best operating environment in the world and continue to enhance those platforms. And we'll have other options for you, as Brian talked about in the future. But for those customers that truly rely on the ClearPath Libra platforms, we will continue to have that level of capability going forward. So thank you all very much.